Well, I kind of feel like with the cost, we're at a point where it's almost like we've kind of locked into an idea of like, for me, I suppose, what I've really realised in life is that when you're chasing something, it's always running away from you. And when you're not chasing something, it's always there.
Love has been
With the cost, there was a philosophy of let's please nobody. Let's not go out and make this record for anybody, with anybody in mind. Let's just make a record of decent songs that we can be proud of.
And what has been
I wanted to call the album The Cost because I kind of felt it was a question. So what I've realised is that this life has cost me a lot. It's an amazing life, but there is a cost, and that cost is that you don't put down roots. And at a certain age, that becomes an issue.
There's a bad bone inside of me.
How I learned how to play guitar was my uncle was a musician, and he took a job he shouldn't have took and ended up driving a car across Europe full of heroin and got put in a prison for 3 years. And for the 3 years he was in prison, his guitar was in my house. And so I learned how to play his guitar kind of behind his back and on his instrument, which is a beautiful instrument. There was a whole big deal for a long time about when my uncle gets out of prison, we'll go to the airport and the whole family will be there to welcome him home. And so I learned how to play a couple of Bob Dylan songs on his guitar. And when he came, so in the airport we were all bundled up and I had the guitar over my shoulder. It was huge on me, so it was quite small. And I had to play a song for him when he came out. His welcome home was kind of a disaster. It didn't go well at all. He was like, what are you doing with my fucking guitar? And he was all hassled. He was like, where's my car? Because he just got out of prison, so he wasn't in great form at all, But then he took me into his band. He had this kind of bar band that this was kind of how he got himself back up off the ground.
If you come along.
And we would play 7 nights a week in bars. Now, I'm talking about just dive bars, where you're singing basically IRA rebel songs. That was your job. And I was just basically playing guitar in the background. I was useless in his band. He just had me in the background because he wanted to basically give his nephew a chance. And by midnight, our sets were like 3 or 4 hours. By midnight, they're standing on the bar and they're hanging onto the thing. Play that one! And they're like, get him to sing a song. And then I'd been learning lots of Van Morrison songs, and then I'd get a chance to sing a song, at like midnight when the place was fucking rabid. It was hot, like they could kill you. And I'd sing a Van Morrison song, and I knew that I had to just fucking floor it. There was no other way to play in front of these maniacs. And that was every night in a different bar. Not in the same bar where it was the same audience. It was a different audience every night. I kind of feel like the frames work best. We're kind of at our best, and we're at our most solid as a band when we're playing in front of an audience who don't know us. I mean, really, really enjoy playing in front of an audience who does know us, but it's different. It's almost like when you have to go in, it's like when you have to kind of climb the fence and go steal something, that it's like when everybody suddenly gets, okay, come on, we tighten up and we go in and it's like stealth. You cross the field, you go in, you manage to get through the barn without any of the chickens going crazy. You fucking grab them, you throw them over your back and you run. And in a way, that's what playing at festivals like. You go in, everybody's kind of like, yeah, cool, we're gonna, and then you go on stage and you just know what you have to do. Another thing I've learned through being in a band for 15 years is that when you go out and you look at an audience and you try to play what you think they're going to like, it never works. You have to just go do your thing for yourself. If you don't like our band, fine. If you like our band, brilliant. You know what I mean? It's that whole thing of like, we'll do our thing. If you dig it, brilliant. If you don't, there's nothing we're ever gonna do that's gonna convince you if you don't.
There's a part in this song, if you'd sing it with us, it'd be fucking great. I know that's probably a big cabaret, but fuck it, I don't care. It goes, we have all the time in the world to get it right.
People Get Ready was written after reading a part of the Bible, the book of Luke. I remember just in a hotel room. It was in the, you know, for some reason they're in the drawer, and I was sitting there and I opened it up and I was kind of sketching through it, and I remember just the part of the Bible where Jesus goes into the temple and gets very angry and basically upturns the tables and gets very upset with people doing business in the house of God. I remember thinking that was just a really powerful part of the Bible. It was the one part of the Bible where Jesus appeared to be human, if you like.
And who'll be there to ignore us?
It was just that feeling of, you know, it's almost like I agreed with Jesus in that bit where you know, it's almost like you can see the wall being pulled over your eyes, and yet you allow it to happen, and yet you buy into it. You know, the whole philosophy of people who are just upset, not necessarily about anything in particular, just upset with the way the world is. It's almost like we have a deeper knowledge of how things should be, and we find ourselves playing a role or playing part in the homogenization of the world, and we find ourselves just getting swept along. And there was just this feeling, and I remember reading that bit of the Bible, just getting this feeling of like, the world ain't right, you know, it just ain't right, and just that feeling of like, you know, and the song was just like, it was more or less, and the song was kind of like a positive thing of like, we have all the time in the world to get it right, but we need to get it right.
People all get ready, because we're coming to the start.
How about Falling Slowly?
Falling Slowly. Well, the song has been knocking around. The riff, the down, 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 has been kind of knocking around for a few years actually, and it was something the Frames had worked on a few years ago in Kerry when we went to a house in Kerry, but we never went anywhere with it.
Words fall through me and always fool me.
And I never really developed it until I was in Valmes in the Czech Republic a couple of years ago with Mar, and we were basically, you know, what was really great about meeting Mar was that I suddenly met someone. I mean, I can write songs. I guess if I'm being honest, I've never really found a kind of a songwriting partner ever. Whereas Mar, for some reason, very naturally, because she was playing piano, it completely changed the timbre of the song. It changed my kind of approach to how the songs would be written. And then so what we did with that song was that song very naturally just kind of came to a conclusion. And it's there in that house where we were like, and because she can sing so well with me, we immediately hit on that harmony, and we were kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And then so the song was finished, and I was very happy then to bring it to the Frames and say, right, this song is now finished. I think we've made a really good record. I'm very proud of it. Absolutely have. And do I think it's our best work? No, not necessarily. I mean, I think every record has its you know, its qualities. But I do definitely think that it's a success in so much as we made the record we went out to make. And people might not believe this, but more often than not, a band sets out to make a record and ends up making something very different. This time we went out to make a record, and we finished with that record in our hands. And the irony of that is that when you make a record in that way, its attraction becomes 100% more potent. And unfortunately, the band can't last forever because people live and die, you know. So the band will cease to exist, and the records will be left behind. And I can definitely put my hand and my heart in and say there's 2 records that we've left behind that are for me worthy. One of them is For the Birds, and the other one is The Cost. They're worthy records. Everything else is worthy too, but these are the ones that I say to myself, I'm glad I made them.